Hello and welcome to another 25 card PSA reveal. This is all vintage and these are all cards I bought from Greg Morris Cards on eBay. They're very well known and respected for those who collect vintage cards. They do set breaks of vintage cards and they label the cards based on how they think they'll grade, near mint or better, and so on. And they're very well respected, and so I kind of wanted to put it to the test and see just how accurate their descriptions are. So I bought cards that were all labeled near mint to mint or better, in other words, a PSA 8 or better. So just got the cards back. A shout out to dtsportscards.com, who I subbed through. They are fantastic. And we'll just go and put them this way. So I'm not going to put my finger over the grade like some people do, because your time is valuable and I want to respect that. But so anyway, all these cards are cards that Greg Morris Cards, GM cards on eBay, listed as near mint to mint or better. In other words, cards that they thought would all get a grade of PSA 8 or better. So let's see how accurate they were, especially with PSA's ever tightening grading standards. We're going to start with some baseball. Jim Woods Topps. I don't remember the years of all these, so just bear with me. I'm going to cheat a little bit. 1961 Topps, Jim Woods rookie. And this one got a 6. So I will say right now this was an outlier. I looked at the grades already. This one got a 6, so they were off on this one. And I didn't look at these closely myself. I just kind of wanted to do a little experiment, which is a little reckless on my part, but I wanted to give it a shot, so I did. Jerry Kindle, who managed or coached my Arizona Wildcats for a long time, won a couple of national championships with them. 1960 Topps, got an 8. Nice looking card. Should make a pile here somewhere. There. There's 6, there's the 8s. Okay. Bill Bruton, this is a 1960 Topps, got an 8. So we're 2 for 3 so far on their labels. It's kind of all over the place here. I'm going to stick with baseball here. Ken Boswell, 1969 Topps Rookie Cup, and this one got a PSA 9. It's a pretty low pop on these. It's probably worth about $200. Now a 10 would be worth about 10,000, so you know how rare those are. But it's a little off center, but it's still got a 9. So sorry about the reflection here. I'm working at night here. But anyway, 9, pretty good for a card that old. A 9 pile there. Jose Arcia, this is a one with the 1969 Topps, but there's some have the first name in yellow, some have the first name in white. This one was yellow. It's a little more common, and it also got a 9, probably also another $200 card, so very nice. Now I will say I paid a premium for a lot of these because GM cards, Greg Morris cards, they're very respected, and people will pay more as per how they're labeled, because they have gained that reputation. They also accept returns, no questions asked. So I bought cards from them with that in mind. Lou Johnson, 1969 Topps, got an 8. Again, these are all cards that Greg Morris Cards labeled as near mint to mint or better. So far they have been accurate, except for on this one, which of course, they're not, even if you think something's an 8 or better, it's not always going to be graded that way. Especially these days. Gary Bell, 1968 Topps, got an 8. Very well centered card. And most of these cards were, they're not stars, they're not Hall of Famers, because I didn't want to spend too much on these. So it was more kind of an experiment just to see how accurate they were. And to see what PSA would think. Joe Christopher, this is a 1966 Topps, also got an 8. Good grades for vintage like this, right? Good grades. Don Minsher, this is a 1964 Topps, and it got a 9 with a miscut label. First one of these cards I've ever gotten where it's a 9, but the miscut. Big disclaimer on that, probably knocked down the price quite a bit. You see on the back here how it's miscut, so I guess that's better than like a 6 or a 7 or less. As far as pricing, I actually don't know because I've never had one that was miscut. We'll find out. Another Jerry Kindle, this is 1961 Topps, and this one got a 9. Very nice. The Cubs, again, coached my Arizona Wildcats for a long time. Arizona is in the Super Regionals coming up against North Carolina. Excited about that. Ernie Broglio, this is a 1961 Topps, and it got an 8. And I'm sorry about the reflection. You're not going to be able to do much discernment on your own there, just because my setup is not the best. Gus Bell, Topps 1961, got an 8 as well. So Just one card so far that was been graded less than an 8. We're about halfway through this, a little more than halfway. Alex Gramis, this is a 1961 Topps, got an 8. I probably pay like between 10 and 20 bucks for a lot of these cards, and I'll lose money on some of them, but I'll make some on the others too. I'll probably end up breaking even from this order. I'll told. Little hockey here. Pierre Bouchard from the Montreal Canadiens, 1973 O-Pee-Chee, got an 8. Yeah, the corners were a little rough, so I figured I was hoping maybe for a 9, but 8 is probably about right. Keith Magnuson from the Chicago Blackhawks. This is a 72 Topps. I was right. Look at that. Got a PSA 9, kind of the cool fisheye look there. Mint 9. I think that makes 5 of those, including the miscut one. Dale Talon, another hockey card, 1972 Topps, got an 8 from the Vancouver Canucks. Norm Ullman from the Toronto Maple Leafs, 1969 Topps, also got an 8. And just see what I can do about the glare in the future with these videos. Ken Schinkel, also Topps, 1968, got a PSA 8. A little off center there, not by that much, but the Pittsburgh Penguins got an 8. Charlie Hodge, I think the California Seals, Oakland, excuse me. PSA 8. Well, football now. Gary Larson from the Minnesota Vikings, 1975 Topps, got an 8. Of a mustache. 1971 NFC passing leaders. This is it's a 1972 card featuring Roger Staubach. Got an 8. Not bad. Otis Taylor from the Chiefs, 1972 Topps. This one got a 7. So this is the second card that was graded less than what was forecasted or predicted, I guess you could say, by Greg Morris cards. So I'll put it in that pile. Just, called a pile, just 2 so far. Tony Sardisco, 1961 Fleer, going way back here. 64-year-old card, got an 8. Pretty good. From the Boston Patriots. Don Floyd, 1960 Fleer, got an 8. And finally, one more baseball here at the bottom. 1968 Major League Rookie Stars, 1968 Topps. Jim Ray, Mike Ferraro, got an 8. So I'll tell you what, I was hoping for maybe a few more 9s or maybe a 10 in there, but that's really not too realistic. I mean, for vintage like that. So big credit to Greg Morris Cards for accurately forecasting the grades on these. Only 2 that were less than an 8, and they say near mint to mint or better. And we did have, again, 5 cards that were better than an 8. So if you're looking to grade some cards from them, I will say from my experience they are very accurate in their descriptions, but expect to pay a premium because they do have that reputation of being very accurate and very transparent. They do a lot of new box breaks, so these cards really are like packed fresh, as crazy as it is to think. So would recommend them. It's just be careful how much you spend because even if you get an 8 or a 9 on some of these cards, especially those players who aren't as well known, you still might not make your money back or even make a profit. So just something to keep in mind, but great experience. Highly recommend checking them out. Again, thanks to DT Sports Cards for the sub. Going through them saves me a lot as far as shipping costs, and appreciate everything they do. Check them out at dtsportscards.com. Thanks for watching. We'll do another one of these soon.